Hello, everyone. This is MMA Interesting Prospects podcast. Today, our guest is Christian Strong, who will be fighting on Fury Challenger Series number 6. Hello, Christian. How are you?
I'm doing very well.
Christian, you will be fighting against Francisco Obando, who I think is a quite solid test. So if you can tell me, what do you think about this opponent? And if you win, what would be next for you?
I think Obando's a good opponent. He definitely brings a lot of pressure when he fights. Um, he definitely brings the fight to a lot of his opponents. I think it's a good test to, make sure that I can handle someone that wants to pressure forward and walk forward a lot. As far as right now, I think I'm just focusing on continually getting better with each win. I'm not too focused on what's the biggest next move, but just on honestly improving and being a better mixed martial artist
And
with each fight.
how many weeks did you have to prepare for this?
About six to eight, I believe. But I mean, I'm always training, all year round. There's no time off, so it doesn't make a huge difference for me.
I think that it would be also interesting because there is some similarities between you, because you in your first fight defeated a very good fighter who will be fighting on the Contender Series this year, Cameron Smotherman, and he defeated Paris Moran, who will be fighting for flyweight title. So it's a big wins in your pro debut. So I think that it's also quite interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I did notice. I've looked through his record, and one of my teammates fought Paris as well. So I know Paris was a good opponent that he beat. So yeah, no, I know he's beat some good guys. Definitely.
And I believe also that for you it's like big accomplishment that you beat a fighter who may be in the UFC in 4 weeks. So I think that it's also some kind of motivation for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean, I know I have the skills and abilities to definitely get there. Having a win over a guy like that and knowing, that you're touching you're scraping at the surface of getting to the moment and, getting to the next level it's very exciting.
And also you are quite busy fighter because it will be your third fight between March and September, so it's like less than 6 months. And also you had about in December. So how many fights would you like to have this year?
Yeah, I'd like to have this fight, and we'll see about possibly getting one more fight this year, I think. um yeah, we'll see. I'm not a big fan of fights in the winter time, but at the same time, you got to be ready for the challenges and, be ready at a moment's notice. So if I feel like it's worth it and I like it and I'm, feeling good and I don't have any injuries, because these are all things you have to take in consideration. So I guess we'll see what happens.
And do you think that you will be challenging for Fury FC title in like next few fights, or you just want to fight on the Fury FC and then go to some bigger promotion?
Yeah, honestly, a title, I'm not too focused on the title, to be honest. I just like to get a couple more fights and hopefully get a call either to get on the Contender Series or move on to something else bigger. So yeah, I'm not. If the title fight did happen, I would be absolutely more than ready. But the title isn't my goal right now. The title or the my goal is to get to the UFC without a doubt. So that's what I'm focusing on.
Yes, and you also can have this kind of confidence that you can be a champion because you defeated one of the future champions in like your first fight. So I think that you can feel it, that you are able to accomplish this.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
And let's talk about a little bit about your beginning in the sport, because we can see that you are a great wrestler. So was it a wrestling that was the first sport that you train?
Yeah, I wrestled from middle school into high school, and then a little bit in college. Um, yeah, wrestling was my absolute first love. I knew that I wanted to fight when I was fairly young, and I knew that wrestling was going to give me a great stable base to do everything that I wanted to do. And wrestling was also my way to be able to pay for college, and it was the thing that kept me out of trouble and kept me focused when I needed focus as a young man, honestly.
And this is like the kind of wrestling that fans like to see, because it's not just taking opponent down and holding him, but you are still like going for better position. You ground and pound a lot, so I think that it's this kind of wrestling that is quite interesting for like even like ordinary fan.
Yeah, absolutely. I as much as I don't want to be that wrestler that's known as, laying on top and being kind of lazy. I want to my goal with every fight is to break my opponents. I want to put the pressure on people. I want to, you know, through and through break their will without a doubt.
Yes, and also you had three knockouts already, so it means something. It's not like decision, but you are knocking people out. So I think it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is hard. I see that as a problem with a lot of wrestlers is when they are starting out, they don't know how to use their wrestling in the right way. So sometimes even guys are letting go and not using the wrestling enough, and they're forgetting their roots. Where luckily have a great coach. He's always talking about you know use your wrestling no matter what. Use what you are good at. Don't forget your what as much as of course we want to become a great mixed martial artist, it's also about using what you're good at, and don't ever forget that.
And where are you currently train?
I train at Catalyst Mixed Martial Arts in Everett, Washington.
And do you have like sparring partners who are prospects and also in some future can be a fighter on the like UFC or Bellator level?
Yeah, I have my one of my main sparring partners is Joey Elzea. He fights flyweight. Like I said, he was the one who fought Paris, and he's a very solid fighter. He he has a great pressure. Just we have really good rounds. We're great training partners. We have a good camaraderie to be able to push each other, but also help each other after the rounds, and going over things and things like that, which I think you need. I don't need a ton of crazy different partners. I just need one or two really good guys. And honestly, I also have great teammates who are still up and coming, like amateurs that are very tough. And I have a great coach. So, I have an amazing team around me, honestly.
Yes, and it's always interesting that you can train with some amateurs, and in a few years there are like top level fighters. So right now they can be unknown for like everybody, but in a few years they will be like stars, and you know them from the beginning. So I think it's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And do you start or planning start to do some grappling competition?
No, I've had like a few of my friends and training partners that are wrestlers, and have asked me about doing some grappling competitions, but I just would rather not. I mean, I'm so focused on fighting right now, and I also would hate to get injured for something that you know doesn't really matter to me. So no, probably not.
Yes, this always there is always a risk that because of some fun you can be injured and be out for like half a year or something like this. So it can be cool, but it's also a big price if you have to pay it.
Absolutely, yeah. And maybe when I'm older and maybe done fighting, then I might do some grappling, tournaments just to keep me excited and have some fun doing competition. But for now, I'm sticking to fighting.
And as the pro fighters for some time right now, what is one thing that you think that you have to improve?
Definitely my striking. It's it's definitely I'm working every day, improving my striking. You know, wrestling and uh wrestling specifically, it's very like a tense um um energy. It's a very tense energy where striking's more about being fluid. And so learning how to be that fluid fighter that is something I'm slowly and working at and becoming. And yeah, that's what I one thing I'd say I'm definitely still trying to work on.
And when in the perfect world would you like to see yourself in the UFC or some other big promotion?
Definitely the UFC. They're the best of the best, and that's who I want to go against.
And when would you like to see yourself there?
I mean, honestly, if it was up to me, I mean, within the next year, I would love to be in the UFC. But at the same time, I understand that things are going to come when they're meant to come, and I'm just going to enjoy the ride.
And if let's say next year, if the UFC would call you and ask you to take a short notice fight, either bantamweight or featherweight division, would you be able and interested doing this in this way, in the short notice fight?
Absolutely, yeah. Even if it was at featherweight, I would show up. I mean, when the UFC calls you, you don't say no. I mean, unless you're a fool. So yeah, no, at featherweight, I still, and I'm a big big bantamweight. I still think I would do fairly well against the featherweights as well. So yeah, no, and as well as short notice, it wouldn't bother me. I'm always in shape. I'm always ready to go.
Yes, but also I think that in the contender series you actually can be in the next year because right now you are 4-1. So if you win like two or maybe three other bouts, you would be perfect, either going straight to the UFC or even being in the contender series. So I think the next year could be like crucial for you.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's my mindset. As long as I stay disciplined, making sure I, do the things I'm obviously hoping and meant to do, then yeah, that's definitely in my eyes for sure.
And what is like the main goal for you as far as MMA?
I mean, my main goal is to be, the UFC champ. There's no doubt about that in my mind. I want to prove to myself that I am the best. I want to, I see this mountain that I want to climb, and I have to climb it. There's nothing else about it.
And you are, I think that in the like the most competitive division right now, either in the UFC or any other promotion, because there are so many great fighters there. There is Aljamain Sterling, Corey Sandhagen, and many more. So, what do you think about the bantamweight division in the UFC?
Yeah, it's absolutely the most stacked division in my personal opinion. I mean, there's always the trend that you see in fighting and in wrestling. The smaller weight classes, typically I've ever noticed, has the more talent, and as you get farther and farther away, the talent starts, kind of diminishing. So yeah, no, the bantamweight's absolutely stacked, but I feel like I have a great skill set to. I'm a trouble, for anybody I would fight. So and I know that, and I'm very confident in that. It's just I have to do the right things, and I think that there's tons of exciting fights as well. All the you know matchups that I see in my head for the future of guys that are already in the UFC. These are just man, I'm only just can only imagine the excitement I'll have when I get those opportunities.
And do you have a fighter in mind that you would like to face, like in the first in your first UFC fight?
First fighter? No, not really. I mean, I know how it goes when you first get signed to the UFC. That you typically aren't gonna get a ranked opponent or anything. At the end of the day, I just want to get the call and if they wanted me to fight the champ on that call, I would. So it doesn't matter who I'd fight, to be honest.
And do you have a fighter in mind that you would like to face in a like dream fight scenario, in a like perfect world, let's say?
A dream fight scenario. That's a good question. No, I don't think so, because if I had a dream fight scenario, it'd mean I obviously look up to somebody that I, really respect and admire. So I hate to see them lose. So I could honestly say no, I don't think so.
And do you have a fighter, maybe not in the bantamweight division, but in all of MMA, the fighter who is inspiration for you?
Yeah. Are we talking about active or inactive?
It can be both.
If we're talking active UFC fighter right now, I'd say Alex Volkanovski. He's got a great heart. He's just that hardworking guy that brings the pressure into every fight. And you also see him improving constantly. He's not just doing the same things every fight. You see his skills improving. You see, one fight he's, doing one thing, and then the next fight now you're seeing stance switches when maybe he wasn't doing that earlier in his career. You see levels to his game just getting better and better. So it's, yeah. And I'd say inactive fighter would probably be George St. Pierre. I always loved that he was a great wrestler. Even though he wasn't a traditional wrestler, he used his wrestling to his advantage, and he was very smart. I think everybody also forgets that, like, fighting, as much as it's like a dangerous, bloodthirsty sport, it's also, it's about your tactics. And he was a great tactician, and I can respect that.
Yes, and he defeated like so many great fighters in a span of many years, from one generation to another. And he was for like many years so humble. Also, he was not talking a lot of crap to other fighters, but he was like super respectful. So I think that also many people like him because he was really humble guy. So it's like really cool thing for everybody.
Yeah, no, that's the one thing you have to appreciate about George St. Pierre. And as well as he's still training. Not a lot of guys, once they're done, but he's still training all the time, which that's so awesome. I hope that I'm like that when I'm done.
And he will have a grappling competition in December, I believe, against Damian Maya. So he will be back, maybe not in MMA fight, but in like competitive thing.
Yeah, yeah, and which will be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it goes, how because Damian Maya's got a very tricky game, and yeah, I'm excited to watch that.
Yes, and I think that GSP has so many fans that he can fight or compete against anybody, and fans would love to see him back. So it can be Damian
Absolutely.
Maya or I don't know, anybody.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Of course.
And what do you think is the one best thing in being a MMA fighter?
I think the best thing is it's fighting's made me become a better person throughout my life. I mean, it's taught me humbleness. It's taught me hard work. It's taught me, compassion. It's taught me I need to work on myself, not just in fighting, but just in life, as you can be great at certain things, but fighting lets you know there's certain things that you're not doing right, even, you know as your personality as a human being, how you treat people. um and I'm very happy for what fighting's done for me. It's made me the best version of myself.
And if you can like take one of the tools from any fighters in the world, what would you like to pick and choose?
Tools from any fighter. Probably, if I had to pick like my kicks, I'd take it from Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Um, if I had to pick striking, I would pick Alex Volkanovski, and if I had to pick wrestling, it'd be Khabib.
Yes, all of these are great tools
Yeah,
because every fighter that you mentioned were like the best in this kind of area. So it's I think that
absolutely.
that's really good choices. And before your fights, how do you deal with this stress? Because overall MMA is quite stressful thing. It can be there in training camp or even in a few hours before your fights.
Yeah, that's it is very tough to deal with the nerves and the stress, even leading up through fight camp, even sleeping at night. uh that's that goes back to also where I was saying earlier, making you a better person, dealing with being able to deal with that anxiety and calming down. I think it's grounding yourself and remembering all the good things that you've done, the hard work, your training, and the positive affirmations, the positive self-talk, and that positive self-talk shouldn't just be done right before you step out to go fight. It should be done in your daily life. How you speak to yourself is super important, um, for everything. If you're negative to yourself, you're gonna have a lot of negativity. If you're positive with yourself, you're gonna carry those habits throughout your life. And that's the most important thing before I'm walking out there, is I try to tell myself a lot of positive self-talk that, I have worked hard and I have all these skills and I am worthy to be out there and I am worthy to beat this opponent. I just have to go do it.
Yes, and if you are a negative person, you also like can see that everything is a negative, and like and people, every person or like behavior, it can be negative because you are have this kind of bad negative energy. So I think it's always better to be positive because you are like bringing another positive things in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And after your fights, let's say that you can't train, what do you like to do in your free time?
In my free time, honestly, relax. I don't like to do a whole lot. If I'm at home, I like to eat, maybe play some video games, but I like to be pretty lazy. Yeah, I'm a homebody when I get a chance.
And do you have a bucket list, the list of things that you would like to do to achieve?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm it's throughout fighting or life or
It can be both.
in fighting, yeah. I mean, obviously to get a title, to be on a big pay-per-view, on my bucket list would get a last second knockout when it's needed. When you're down 2 rounds, a last second knockout or a submission. Maybe you're down 2 rounds and you need to dig deep and find a way to win. That's like a I know that's a bad position to be. No one should want to be there, but that is on my bucket list. To you find a way to win. And then in life, I mean, just also, I hope, whether I'm a champion or what, I hope that fighting gives me the life that I hopefully can have, could have, you know, financially, and put me in a good position where I'm also able to hopefully eventually own a gym one day or coach with my coach, and pass on the lessons that I've learned. And I'm also hopefully comfortable, own a house and have all these things that I don't have to worry and stress.
Yes, so if you will be in the UFC, it would be like good beginning. Then go at first go to the UFC, make some money, and then go up to in the rankings and make more money. So I think it's like the key for everything right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what are you the most excited in the next few months? Months. It can be both like some personal things or the MMA related. What is one thing that you are the most excited about?
Right now I'm just focused on what's ahead of me this fight right now. It's hard. It's really hard. I'm a very person that's I'm so one track minded that I can't think too much far in the future. I can only focus on the one thing that's ahead of me. So right now, that's my main goal.
So what would be a prediction of this fight? Do you think that you will finish your opponent, or you may think that, or do you think that it can go all 3 rounds?
No, I think I'm gonna get a finish. I think I'm gonna wear him down, and I think I'll get a finish towards the end of the second round or the beginning of the third round. That's
Okay,
my
so
prediction.
so we will see if it's gonna happen. Then I think that it's quite possible because of your style. It can be like this second part of the fight, TKO.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Christian, many thanks for this conversation. I hope that you will win this fight, and maybe next year we can see you in the Contender Series. It could be either Contender Series or just like maybe short notice fight, something like this to get you to the UFC.
Yeah, absolutely.